Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to PortWave Yokohama, Talks on Global Innovation. My name is Yu Shinagawa, Program Manager at YOKOHAMA CONNÉCT. This is a 30 minutes fireside chat. In each session, we meet one innovator and explore how fresh ideas travel from Yokohama and beyond to the globe. Today, our guest is Brittany Arthur, CEO of Design Thinking Japan, and a leader in human-centered AI and design thinking. Brittany, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I mean, Yokohama is so important to me as a person, so I couldn't possibly think of somewhere better to be.
Thank you, and I'm so happy to have you as a very first guest for this episode. So first, since we only have the 30 minutes, I'd like to jump into the agenda.
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Yes,
okay.
Let's go.
So first, could you introduce yourself and what are you doing and why you started Design Thinking Japan?
Of course. So I'm the CEO of Design Thinking Japan. We build AI solutions that meet human problems. So instead of saying, hey, we have this AI, do you want to buy the AI and figure it out on your own? We say, what's your problem? Is your problem invoicing? Is your problem timetables or trains? Is your problem something about your factory? So we start with a problem and then we work back and engineer a solution that's often used as AI.
So could you also tell us about your entrepreneurship journey a little bit more?
Of course. So we began our company, Design Thinking Japan. We began in 2017 working with large organizations to help them rethink their approach to innovation. Innovation has become really so essential that everybody needs to learn it. And innovation is a skill. Innovation is not a gift. It's not like some people can do it, some people can. Some people are Steve Jobs, some people are not. Everyone can learn innovation. So we began in Japan bringing design thinking, but in the Japanese context, which means that we introduced this human-centeredness, not as something new, but as something Japanese. For example, when we talk about empathy, well, that's very close to Gemba. Or when we talked about iteration, we've talked about Kaizen, or so we made sure that design thinking was not this new thing from Silicon Valley. We introduced design thinking as something really deep and connected to Japanese principles. And then we delivered in a way that it's a process so people can follow it. Because in Japanese companies, there's often many, many people. And so people need to learn it. It's not like, you can't leave innovation to chance anymore. We, especially in Japan, we are facing big challenges. We're having an aging population. We're having declining birth rates. We're having disengagement from youth. More youth, I think, are not wanting to travel anymore. We're looking at some real problems. So we need to find ways to be able to engage people that innovation is not to chance. We have to be able to solve these things. And so that's how we began, as being able to identify really deep problems, and then also to be able to equip people with a mindset for innovation, that you can learn this. So that's how we started. And then we worked with really large brands all the way through Fortune 100 companies, Nissan just around the corner, Accenture Japan, Prada, MasterCard, lots of companies. We've been able to support them. And we took our human-centered DNA, which is design thinking and innovation as a process, and then we evolved now to use that same process to build AI solutions that can really make a difference to people.
Interesting. Like innovation, when people hear the word innovation, it looks like it's like a Steve Jobs, or more like someone who is genius and making something very big new thing. But you are trying to tell them how they can learn and experiment it.
That's right. I think the most important thing, particularly for our business, is we like to meet you where you're at as a customer. So if you have a big, grand problem that you want to introduce mixed reality into your factory, and you want to imagine what a hybrid work situation might look like, and you want to use the NVIDIA Omniverse to design things, yes, of course, we can support you. But if you're not there yet, and you're saying, we are a medium-sized company, or we're a large-sized company here in Yokohama, here in Kanagawa, and we're looking to innovate, we're looking to stay relevant, what can we do? What does that mean for us? That's where we begin. So we want to say, yes, innovation is possible, but on a scale. So let's make sure we find the right fit for you. Maybe you want to go big. Let's go big. But again, we're a Japanese company, so ちょっとずつでも大丈夫だよ.
Interesting. Sounds like I'm very curious that many of the Japanese traditional company is also kind of struggling that they are usually looking into the technology or the more function, like a shokunin mind. They want to make the perfect products.
Yes.
So I think the human-centered or the empathy-based development or product development is kind of their challenge to change the way of thinking. How do you see the change through working with you and your Japanese client, how they change the mindset or also the behavior?
That's a great question, Yu. A couple of things come to mind. The first thing is that AI is not a vertical. It's not sales, engineering, product, AI. That's like being in the 90s and saying, only IT needs computers. HR doesn't need computers. Legal doesn't need computers. Only our engineers need computers. We saw DX for a long time was a vertical function. AI needs to be a vertical function across your entire organization. Everybody needs to be able to be accelerated by AI. So the biggest change when customers come to us is a mindset shift from, AI is not a vertical for our IT team. AI is for everybody, even me, even my team. So I think that's certainly a big one. And you mentioned about wanting to make the perfect product. I want to make the perfect product too. Me too. However, we believe in iteration. So instead of going from 1 to 100, we do short sprints to make sure we're staying on the right direction. So instead of going 1 to 100, we go 1 to 10, then 11 to 20, then 21 to 30. And then when we get to 100, we're so much closer to perfection because we didn't do it in one jump. We did it in 10 jumps.
So try to like making a small milestone that they know they are making a progress so that they are now get lost or being fear of what's going to be the final product.
That's right. So innovation's for everybody. So AI is not a vertical, it's a horizontal. Innovation is for everybody. I can't say that enough. And two, go in increments, learn fast and adjust quickly.
Interesting. Do you have any like specific case or you see some successful cases lately?
Sure. So maybe I can tell you my favorite AI story. So you might think it's a boring story, but the reason why it's so special to me is because they came to me at the end and said, "You changed my life. My life is better because of this." And when it comes to technology, that's what you want. You want people to say, "My life is better." You don't just want to say, "Oh, my life is faster." You know, especially at our company, we're always asking not just how can we do this faster, but how can we do this better? How is AI making not just faster, but how is AI making us better? So the story goes like this. There was an engineering team and a sales team. And the sales team was like a regular sales team on the road selling their product. And when a customer would have a question, the sales team would call engineering and they would say, "Oh, I have a question about this product. Do you have a minute?" And the engineer would say, "Hey, why don't you just read the manual? We have a manual. Please read the manual." And the salesperson would say, "It's just 1 minute." Now, that's okay if it happens once. But if it happens multiple times a day across your entire sales team and your company is growing, this is really an issue because your engineers aren't doing what they should be doing, which is advancing on the product, and your sales team don't have the confidence to be able to sell to their customers. So we've got problems. So we said, okay, before we jump into the technology, let's assess what's the problem, where are we at? And the situation was we didn't need to translate or we didn't need an AI assistant to understand their entire 1,000-page manual. We recognized through our human design approach or human-centered design approach that the same questions keep coming up, the same kind of 20, 30 questions. So we designed an AI assistant to solve those 20 to 30 questions, and anything that was outside of those 20 to 30 questions, okay, then you're allowed to call. You're not allowed to call the engineers. You can call the engineers, but not for things that you shouldn't call. So we had, okay, these, and so with this assistant, you were able to interact. The sales team was able to interact with this assistant. Of course, the assistant was much more happy to answer the questions than like an engineer would, who's super annoyed that you're calling them during the day. And the engineering team was so happy because they were able to focus on their products. And of course, management was happy. So for me, of course, I'm always so impressed when my team builds really technology that's really, from a technical perspective, really outstanding. But when a customer says to me, my life is different, I can go home on time, I can spend time with my family, I'm less stressed. For me, this is really probably one of my favorite stories.
Thank you for sharing. I think many of the tech people is looking for, they want to develop a new system or using new technology. So their struggle or challenge is like trying to answer the question, the very same question that is not going to help them grow. So I see like the you change your life is really means that. So thank you very much for sharing the interesting and a very insightful story. And I'd like to jump into our five signature questions. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. So the first question is wave question. Looking ahead, what big trend do you see in your field and how are you going to getting ready for it?
That's a great question. So I'd like to talk about AI on maybe a business and a social level rather than just on a technical level. So we've identified 4 trends, which I'm happy to share everyone in the audience because we're connected now, so I can share them with you and anyone who's listening. I can send you the link for download. The first trend is about that you are working together with an AI system. So we call this AI and human. This is when an AI is really working together with the human and that you are doing things beyond that you ever imagined that was possible. Our other trend, which is when we're thinking about autonomous partnerships, this is when an AI is working for you. This is really interesting, and Microsoft speaks a lot about this, and Microsoft is a company we have a strong partnership with. We're receivers of their startup fund, but we also have a lot to do with their AI skilling director. So if we think about the autonomous partnerships perspective, this is really interesting because this is an AI working on behalf of me, which means as a human, I become an AI director. I become responsible. So this AI is no longer on my team. Don't think about this, AI is my team member like you would, for example, if you're using AI for ChatGPT or for Claude or something like that. Think about that this AI is your employee. How are you going to interact with this kind of technology when it's not your team member, but it's actually your employee? Think about that. We also see the immersive reality that people are able to now do things that were never possible, that especially, in Japan, we are on a different time zone to obviously the Europe and the US. So people are often doing a lot of asynchronous work. We also, are dealing with lots of manufacturing. There's often companies that are spread out across the country. How can you make sure that these kinds of teams are interacting well together? There's opportunities where you can use the digital and physical world to improve how and really what you do. And the last one is about biological interactions, which is how does my body interact with technology? How can I use, and this isn't just like your Fitbit or something like that. This is really about what's my data, what's my physical signals telling me about the information. So if I'm making a purchase, maybe is my heart signals telling me, yes, you should buy it? Or is my heart signals telling me, no, you shouldn't buy it? Or if you can imagine a married couple going to buy a car and the wife is saying, don't buy this sports car, but actually maybe her biological interaction said she had a good time as well, maybe you can use that. So I think these 4 trends, so it's really about working together with AI, guiding an AI, being a director, the idea of you having the immersive reality, so physical and digital worlds, and that last one, the biological interactions. I think we're going to see these as 4 trends over the next, let's say, 36 months in some really interesting ways. And this is not necessarily like super sci-fi stuff, particularly if you look at L'Oreal. L'Oreal is already using biological interactions to help their customers make informed decisions as well.
Interesting. So they're using the sixth sense or something, also connecting with the AI, and they may know that what we really want or what we really want.
You're spot on. The sixth sense is AI now. You're spot on.
Interesting. And also for the audience, if you are interested in more dig deeper for the what's the trend she sees, please go to the Business Karaoke. This is her own podcast. You can find it on Spotify.
Yes, so you can find it on our podcast, but also if you go to our page, which is Design Thinking Japan, you have our Signals podcast in Japanese. I think our Japanese is listed. Yeah, and our English is listed.
I listen, so
Yeah.
I know there is. And actually, in the podcast, there's AI is actually speaking.
Yeah.
This is so interesting. They're speaking very natural Japanese and both English. So you can tell what AI can do, not just as a team members, but more like a employee to they know they have the knowledge.
That's right.
Intelligence.
But these kinds of conversations, AI doesn't have them on their own. We have to guide them. It was our company who wrote the report that guided these kinds of conversations, because our approach is human-centered AI accelerated. And if you don't have any input, AI goes nowhere. So how you use AI and the effectiveness of AI is only ever going to be as good as your input. So the better your input, the better you can guide the AI, the better the output.
That's going to be a good hook for our second question, which is anchor question. So since you said that we need to know what you want to working with the AI, I also not want to know what core values or core value anchors your work. And can you share time when it guided you through a challenge?
So I think beginning with, for example, design thinking, we began with empathy. But I think in this case and where our company is at today, I think meeting the customer or meeting people where we're at is essential. And I'll tell you a bit why. AI is not like learning a new CRM. AI is not like learning a new technology. AI is a fundamental shift in how we can approach our lives. So we are really passionate as a company about bringing everyone along the journey. This includes how can we support a mother in the supermarket make better informed decisions on how she can feed her family. We're also looking at how can we support policymakers and government to be able to imagine what a world with AI might look like. So we are really deep believers in meeting a customer where they're at an industry level. But one of the reasons, so for example, even tomorrow at the Venture Cafe, but in Tokyo, we're having a co-presentation with the AI skills director of Microsoft because of that, because we believe that AI is going to be a literacy, the same way that we have to make sure, our children are fluent in English in Japan, or that they learn math. We really want to make sure that our children also learn AI. So I think when it comes to that kind of anchor question for me, without a doubt, being a business owner, being invested in Japan as a country. I'm a business owner here in Japan, and also having a child here. I'm raising a family as well. It is absolutely essential for me that everybody comes along on this AI journey. It is that important.
So you don't want to left anyone behind?
No, we meet everyone where they're at and we go together. Everyone's going to have a different journey, and that's totally fine, but we meet you where you are and we'll go the journey with you.
I see, like that's a human-centered is really the core value for you.
Yeah, I mean, people say it, but I mean, it's really drives everything we do.
Thank you. So the next question is pod question. If you could choose any new pod for your next collaboration, could be a community or industry or mindset, what would it be and why?
I think a group of people that says AI is for those people. AI is not for me. I don't need AI. Nobody wakes up in the middle of the night, or no one wakes up in the morning and says, oh, I need AI. I don't even wake up like that. But people wake up in the morning and they say, how am I going to think about my tax payments? How am I going to figure out the best way or the best school for my child? Or how am I going to plan my holiday? Or what's my career going to look like? So my next port of call is for people who think AI is not for them. That people say, you know what, maybe it's not for me. There was a time, and so we think about AI the same way that you would think about electricity, that there are certainly even areas today in the world where where they don't use electricity, or where there's not reliable electricity, but their quality of their lives are very different. And so we believe AI will have the same impact as, for example, electricity or even computers do. So the same way that people opted out of learning computers. I mean, we saw how that ended for people. I want people to know that if you think AI is not for you, it's okay. Let's begin with what's important to you as a person. Is it your family? Is it your career? Is it whatever it might be? Let's meet you there, and then let's show you a way that you have, let's say, a support that you could have never imagined possible available to you really at your fingers.
So be better, bring some like inspiration. Those who are not interested, although they think AI is not for them, but actually that could be one of the strongest partner to make something possible they dream.
That's right.
Thank you. So the next question is a failure question. Failure is based on our venture cafe concept. Failure is good. So as an entrepreneur, I also ask this question. What is the most valuable lessons you have learned from the failure?
That's a great question. I think failure is only if you stop. So when you say, okay, we're not going anymore, we're not moving forward anymore, that's it, we've stopped here, that's the end of the road. That's perhaps failure. But I think as long as you keep moving, I think that's really key. So one of the core principles of our business and how we elicit or how we create or ignite a fire or a courage in somebody is by showing them it's possible. And that's often through something like prototyping. So doing something small instead of, having months of meetings and meetings and meetings and talking and doing nothing. What we do is we say, let's stop, let's build it, let's do something, and let's learn. So I think when it comes to failure, you have to look at it as input or as data, and data is not good. It's neither bad. You have to look at this as data. So what I'm doing right now, the approach that I'm taking right now is not giving me the results I need. I need to pivot. And so I think this also gets back to the beginning of our conversation in terms of iterations. If you are going from 1 to 100, that's 100 points where something could go wrong. That's a lot of points. So reducing the scope and going from 1 to 10, well, that's only 10 points that, 10 touch points that something could go wrong, and focusing on things much more on a tighter scope, iterating on them, and then I think moving forward. And I think as long as you do those things, I've never, heard that someone hasn't gotten to where that they needed to go.
I'm curious, I want to ask a follow-up question. Do you feel stress when you get the unexpected or unfortunate result?
Do you mean like in my life or when I'm using AI?
I mean, like in a business project.
So it happens every day. It happens,
so you're already getting used to it.
So it happens every day. So if you think about it, so I'm a foreigner, I'm a female, I'm a mom, I'm a business owner, I'm a wife. There is a million things that I'm juggling at any possible one time. There's always something going wrong, right? There's always something going wrong, something to adjust. So I think the number one thing is to make sure is that you just take this data as, okay, is this taking us to where we need to go, kind of yes or no, and then just adjust on that. But I think in terms of like, do I feel like stressed? It's more like we've got to stay curious. It's like, if this isn't working, what's the next thing that we can do? What's the next thing that we can do? Because if you go, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed, you stay in the stress. But if you look at, okay, write down, literally get a pen and a paper and start writing down all of the things that you've done and be like, okay, these are the things that we've done and that hasn't got us to where we need to go. And then start ideating some more. What are the things that are not on this board that we can do? So I think as long as you're looking at it as something that can inspire action in you, I think the idea of kind of like failure, I think doesn't even really matter anymore. It's more just about like, we're just trying new things to work it out and get us closer to where we want to go.
So, which means like you have more curiosity than fear of the failing.
We are so excited and passionate about not only Japan being our home, our business home, but also our personal home. We believe so deeply. This is such an exciting time for Japan. This is such a good time to be an entrepreneur. You have an AI, toolkit behind you. You can operate almost at the same that like a large global consortium does. And we have an opportunity to rethink and inspire a new innovation, really life cycle in Japan that we can say AI is this kind of like software kind of thing living in the cloud, but AI has to live somewhere. And Japan is the country of manufacturing. It makes perfect things. This is the place that we can build the hardware, the home for AI. So we are super positive about what we're coming up against and what kind of world we can build, because I think everything is there and there's never been a better time to innovate than there has right now. So for me, no question. Of course, at the end of the day, if I go, oh my gosh, you can get stressed. I mean, I'm not going to say I don't get stressed. I get stressed. But thinking about the opportunity where we are, and specifically here in Yokohama, I walked through the door this morning or this afternoon, and it said, making things happen. That's what we need to do to make things happen. And here, and especially with what we do at DTJ, is that we make sure that things happen in your business and you move to where you want to go. So do I feel stressed? I mean, I think no more than anyone else in the world. But I've never been more excited and more positive that we here in Yokohama are in a place that we can really build the next frontier. I've never been more sure.
That goes to our last question, the forward question. So in one sentence, what change do you hope your work will make in the next 5 years?
I hope that we create makers, not just users. So we build, obviously, that, at Design Thinking Japan, we always think about the user, but we just don't want people to use technology and to consume technology. We want people, whether you are a small child or whether you're an older person or whether you're, you're a professional, we want you to be a maker of technology, to be a part of making what our society is going to be. So for me, without question, making sure that we are equipping, and not only just with kind of blind confidence, but through education and also through access to good quality information. I mean, I have so much free content. I do a podcast. We do so much to make sure that people have access to really good, great content. I think that's for me more than anything. If I'm looking 5 years from now, I really want to make sure that people are not outsourcing their AI decisions. You cannot be a leader of a business and outsource your decision to XYZ. I don't want to say a consultancy because I don't want to make any problems. But you cannot outsource your AI strategy. You are the best person to make the call on your AI strategy, because AI strategy is driven by where you want to go. And a consultant doesn't know where you want to go. You know where you want to go as a family, whether you're a mother, whether you're a professional, or whether you're sitting in government and you're writing policy. Please, just with a little bit of upskilling, you are the best person to make the call on your AI strategy. So without question, I really want to make sure that our company contributes to people. As we'll meet you where you are. AI is for everybody, and you are someone who can make a difference. And we really want to build makers and not just users.
Thank you. So the inclusive and all access for everybody to use AI for something, make it possible.
Yes, for their problems, not just using AI randomly, but like for AI to solve a problem.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for sharing such an insightful and passionate story. And that's unfortunately the 30 minutes is so quick. So this is the end of the show. Thank you very much, Brittany.
It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. And I think I just wanted to also highlight you for the work that you do and creating space, because I think humanity moves through stories. And I think and you starting this port series of wanting to bring light, especially to here to Yokohama, I think is a real testament of the work that you're doing. So thank you to you as well.
Thank you so much for the kind words. So this is the end of today's PortWave Yokohama Talks on Global Innovation. I hope everyone join here and enjoy the session, enjoy the story, hearing her story. And PortWave Yokohama will return on August 27th, which is our next Yokohama Connect. So please wait for the updates. I'm Yu Shinagawa. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. 皆さんありがとうございます。この後、少し場面転換しまして、次のセッションを始めてまいります。